you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here coming at you from beautiful, sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Livin the Dream podcast. And today, we are throwing it back. On Throwback Thursday, we dive into some of the best episodes from the archives, packed with timeless strategies to help you crush your health, fitness, and wellness goals. These episodes might be from the past, but the lessons, they still hit hard today. Whether it's a mindset shift, a fitness tip, or a nutrition hack, this throwback is here to remind you just how far you've come and how much further you can go. Every once in a while, I like to go back in the archives and bring forward an episode that I know can still change lives. Because the truth is, the fundamentals don't change. And today's episode is one of those. It's called How to Make Exercise a Habit. How to make exercise a habit. And whether you're just getting started on your fitness journey or trying to recommit, this episode is packed with actionable strategies, powerful mindset shifts, and a bit of science to help you make movement a consistent part of your life, not just something you do when motivation strikes. So if you've been struggling with consistency and you're ready to level up your habits, you're going to want to tune in and take notes. Let's run it back. Here's one of my all-time favorite episodes, How to Make Exercise a Habit. All right, y'all. So we all know that exercise is good for you. And we all know that when we have our exercise routine down, we tend to feel better about our physical appearance. We also tend to have a healthier body and mind, and our muscles and heart are all benefiting at the same time. But that's not all exercise offers, right? There are many benefits to exercise. Exercise supports almost every single organ in the body: the brain, blood vessels to the brain, heart, lungs, immune system, skeletal muscles, bone, metabolism, liver, the list goes on. And this is for people of every age. When you exercise, you get a personal dose of regenerative medicine via stem cells and progenitor cells, where they help repair, rebuild, and remodel tissues. It has been said that the exercise you do is as close as you can get to the fountain of youth. When you exercise, you get improved sleep, which is a huge player in many aspects of your fitness and health. It also improves your motor skills, giving you more confidence, as well as decreases your risk of falls and injuries during everyday activities. The beautiful thing about exercise as well is that it's never too late to start. If your heart is beating and you can find a form of exercise that you enjoy, that fits your schedule, and that you can consistently do, it's never too late to start your fitness journey. Another amazing aspect to exercise is that a lot of people think that they have to go and exercise for a block of time. For example, do a 30-minute run, do a 60-minute ride. However, it has been proven that you get the same benefits even if you break it up into smaller efforts, such as 3 shorter 10-minute bouts instead of a solid block of 30 minutes of the same activity at the same intensity. A study in the Journal of Neurology states that highly fit middle-aged women were less likely to develop dementia in their later years of life. Now, I can't think of many things worse than a degenerative disease, especially in the brain. And exercise has been proven to protect against many degenerative diseases, and that's just amazing. Both cardiovascular and resistance training exercise should be a part of your fitness journey. Cardiovascular for your heart, your respiratory health, and resistance training for your bone density, muscular strength, increased metabolic rate, increased quality of lifespan. The list goes on. In my opinion, if you had to choose only one, I would 100% tell you to choose resistance training, but a combination of the two will definitely enhance benefits. And of course, a huge benefit of exercise is weight loss and reduced obesity. Now, I could go on forever with this list and benefits of exercise, but I think the issue here is, how do we create long-term habits that we can stick to? It's easy knowing all about the benefits of exercise, but figuring out a way to make it a part of your life forever,
Now, that's a bit more challenging. So let's discuss some of the obstacles and objections that people have when it comes to exercise. Number one has got to be lack of time. We're all super busy people and we live in a super busy world. It's always nonstop. It's go, go, go. One thing that I really wish I could work on about myself is that I'm always in a hurry. I'll hop in the car on a weekend and have to go to the store or something. I don't have any rush to be there, but I get in that car and I drive like a freaking race car driver just because it's programmed in my brain that the time is valuable and I need to rush to get there as quickly as possible, even though I don't have anywhere to go that day. Can anyone relate with me on this? It's crazy. Why are we always in such a rush? Lack of time is a very legit objection to why people don't work out. I mean, from a very narrow view, if you look at it, how could taking 30 to 90 minutes out of your day to get exercise ready, drive to the gym, work out, drive home, clean up, how could that be more important than this report that you're supposed to do for work or school, or cooking for your family, or cleaning your disaster of a house you haven't had a chance to clean in weeks? How could exercise be more important than any of those things? I mean, it seems kind of selfish that you would choose exercise over those other things, right? But we need to reframe the way we're looking at this. That's totally wrong. If you're someone who has this mindset, let's rewind this podcast and start over and re listen to all those benefits that exercise has to offer. You could be a single parent of 10 kids who runs a multi-million-dollar company by yourself, who volunteers at every single nonprofit organization in the city, and you still have time to exercise. You have to make time for exercise. It's as simple as making a little bit of time for here and now, working on your health so that you can perform optimally, not only for yourself, but for others. Or else you're going to be paying for it later on in life with physical issues, mental issues, with terrible life quality issues, with frequent visits to the doctors and side effects from 10 different prescription medications. We have to widen our view and understand that we can only help and serve others once we have done so for ourselves. We all know it, that old saying, it's true. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The beautiful thing about exercise is that it can be done anywhere, anytime, and in an infinite amount of ways. It can also be stacked with other things that you're doing throughout your day. Myself, I absolutely love listening to podcasts and audiobooks. So instead of listening to music, I stack my workout with a podcast. Other people who may spend hours and hours on phone calls or online meetings could stack their phone calls with walking or weight training from their office or homes. Maybe you have to cook for your children after work, and that's the only time frame that you thought that you could exercise. Well, maybe you turn it into a game with your kids where they help you cook and you also incorporate bodyweight movements around the kitchen. I'm telling you, if you're creative enough, you can find 3 10-minute breaks throughout your day to exercise. The cold hard truth that we all need to accept is that we do have time. We just haven't put enough value on our own health to make it happen. We value the time we spend decompressing from work by watching Netflix or our favorite TV shows over our health and fitness goals. And don't get me wrong, I definitely do see value in decompressing and turning your brain off, especially for those who are always on the go, go, go mode. But we would have to reframe how we are thinking. And next time you say to yourself, I don't have time to exercise, instead say this: exercising and my health are not a priority to me. And if this doesn't sit well, which it really shouldn't, then we need to think about how to schedule exercise into your daily routine and put more value on yourself. And the beautiful thing is, the sooner you make the change, the sooner you start to see and feel the benefits. And the more that the value grows and the more that the habit is formed. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. All you need is just a little momentum, a little consistency, and the difference you will see is noticeable and very, very powerful. Another objection to exercise is financial, right? I hear this all the time. I don't have money for a gym membership, or I don't have money for a personal trainer. Now, I do definitely think that having a fitness professional help guide you through at least the first phase of your fitness journey is super important. When you work with someone who knows what they're doing, whether it's a trainer, a coach, a team, whatever, you lay a foundation of knowledge and you begin by doing all the important things first, which can have a huge impact on not only the amount of time you take to finish and accomplish the goal, but also how successful you're really going to be at the end. You're less likely to experience any types of injuries that come from poor form, and you're less likely to waste time on things that may not be in your interest. Having said all that, not everyone has budgeted for that extra money expenditure. If you're really serious about your health and want to figure out a way to budget for a personal trainer, I know that I've found a lot of extra things in my life that I'm spending money on. And if I made a concentrated effort to find cheap alternatives or cut it out completely, I could save hundreds of dollars a month. If you add up all the money that we spend on coffee, on random apps on your phone that have a monthly subscription of $5 here or $10 there, on eating out, yes, of course, you'll have to replace some of that with groceries you have to buy and the time it takes to cook it, but that's got to be a ton of money right there. If you add up all these extra expenses and find a cheaper alternative or just cut them out completely, you may have money to get a personal trainer once a week or join a fitness program that has a coach. Now, let's say that that's too much work and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you don't spend a single penny on things that aren't completely necessary to live. Well, even though that's really rare, I'm sure, you can still afford to exercise. If you have a body, you have a gym. There's an infinite amount of information on the internet that can get you started on both cardiovascular workouts and body weight resistance training workouts. If you need help finding any of these, message me. I can help you out. Another obstacle would be lack of fitness or lack of education, right? People think that they are not educated enough to start their fitness journey or that they're too out of shape to start. I hear this all the time. I'll go ahead and try your workout once I get in shape. If you're someone that thinks this way, I can totally empathize with you. Fitness is scary. It can be intimidating. And the fear that you could do something wrong or hurt yourself, or even worse for some, do something embarrassing and make a complete fool out of yourself, these are real concerns. I get it. Now, I am a fitness professional who has been in a gym setting for over 15 years, and I still get nervous going to a new gym or a new workout studio that I've never been to. But I'm here to tell you, everyone in that gym is only concentrated on themselves. Most everyone in there also wants to see every new person succeed. And sometimes the biggest, scariest people in the gym are the ones who will be the nicest and possibly have some expertise to offer. If a gym or studio setting is not for you, then there are plenty of workouts and exercises that you can do outside or in the comfort of your own home. The biggest thing is you cannot use the excuse of, I have to get a little better into shape before I try blank. We know that that's a cop-out from the moment it leaves your mouth. Like, what do you mean? You have to get into better shape, and how are you going to do it? If you never start because you need to get in better shape, you'll never start. That's a terrible mindset to have. Instead, start slow. Start very small. Commit to 10 minutes a day for 3 days a week where you're just going to walk by yourself at your own pace. There are many mistakes that can be made when you start exercising, but we learn from these mistakes and we grow from them. We trial and error what works best for us and what doesn't work at all. That's how life is, and exercising is no different. So now let's discuss some common mistakes that people make when trying to make exercising a habit. If your current workout routine is too intense and beating you up, you will almost 100% not be doing it for the long term. If you're just starting your exercise journey, again, you need to begin slow. If you love group fitness, then 1 to 3 sessions a week is a fantastic place to start. You do not have to go 7 days a week. And in those sessions, just go slow. Take lots of breaks, stay within your limits of where you're at this moment in time. And sometimes when you take a group fitness workout, you know that you see the people in there, they're going hard. But those people have been doing it for years and years. And then when you try to do what they're doing, you feel frustrated. You feel unaccomplished. You feel like you're a failure. I mean, think about it this way. You wouldn't jump into a race car and start driving 200 miles per hour on day one, would you? Hell no. You would want to practice first. You would want to build a foundation of skills that would allow you to one day be able to put it all together and start working on performance. If you're doing an exercise routine alone, depending on where you're starting, a 15-minute walk with some stretching could be a workout for you. A hike with some squats, lunges, and push ups thrown in there could be perfect for where you're at right now. You don't have to go a full hour because that's what most workouts are. You don't have to do a million burpees because we all know that if you didn't cry during your workout, you just wasted your time. But also, if your current workout routine is something you hate, something that you don't enjoy, you'll never keep doing it. This is the cold hard truth. Motivation will get you started with a form of exercise that you don't like, but motivation comes and goes. It's a feeling, just like happiness, sadness, joy. If this isn't something you look forward to, then you'll come up with every excuse in the book as to why you can't do it today. It'll happen as soon as that motivation starts to fade. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, I don't like any form of exercise. And I've heard this so many times, trust me. And while it makes me sad, I do get it. Some people have a negative connection with exercise. And if we were to dig really deep, we would probably see that this is probably from something that happened in their past that really needs to be worked through, which is a little out of my scope of practice, I have to say. But here's the thing. There is something out there that you can do, something that makes you feel great while doing it and gives you that rush once you've finished. I'm sorry to say it, but you're just flat out wrong if you say that there's nothing in this world that can do that for you. You just don't like any form of exercise that you've encountered yet. There's so many ways out there to move your body. Dancing, rollerblading, surfing, hiking, yoga, underwater scuba. If you seriously sit down and make a list of all the things you love and none of them include physical activity, then please message me. I'm going to make it my life's purpose to find the one thing that will get you moving. Moral of the story, it doesn't have to be the hardest workout in the world. It doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing. It doesn't have to be what Susan from across the street did to lose 20 pounds. It just has to be something you enjoy and something that you look forward to. Another mistake is prioritizing your schedule. Now, this is the wrong way to go, prioritizing your schedule. You have to instead schedule your priorities. So don't look at your schedule and figure out which things you need to get done and then try to figure out which ones to do first. This will only leave you to put off your fitness because it doesn't really sound as important as the report you need to do, or the shopping or groceries, or as getting the house cleaned up, right? When in fact, your fitness and your health is far more important than any of those things. Because once you have your fitness dialed in, you're happier, you're healthier, more energetic human, and the self-care cup is full. And that's the only way you can fill others' cups, such as your family, your friends, your coworkers. Your poor health could cost you more money, more time, more heartache and stress than you can imagine if you leave it at the bottom of your priority list. Think about it. If you ask any of your friends or acquaintances in life that are very fit or are very health conscious, ask them, when do you work out? I can guarantee you that almost every single one of them can tell you the exact time they work out every single day. They will say, I work out in the morning every day before I go to work, or I work out at lunch to break up my day. Or as soon as I get off work, I drive to the gym with my workout clothes in my gym bag and I knock it out before I head home. They have scheduled their priorities instead of prioritizing their schedule. You have to schedule your exercise into your daily routine. It should be the same thing as work meetings or as your date night outs or when you go to the dentist. What would happen if you missed your work meeting or you missed picking up your kids from school? You should have that same mindset when it comes to your workout and exercise routine because it is just as important. So James Clear, he wrote a book called Atomic Habits. And in this book, he discusses a study of getting people in the habit of studying. In the study he references, there are two groups. Both groups were provided motivational materials that explain the benefits of studying. But only one group received the extra task of writing down when and where. So here's how it looked. They were asked to complete this sentence. During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of studying on blank day at blank time in blank place. So during the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of studying on what day, at what time, in what place. And that simple exercise in itself caused the group to double their daily study sessions, compared to the group that only got the motivational materials. This is referred to as an implementation intention, and it improves the likelihood that you will follow through with your intention, making you specify when, where, and how you're going to do this and where it's going to take place. Try this right now. Instead of saying, I will exercise tomorrow, state when and where you will exercise. By thinking through your day, you're stating something like, I'm going to go directly to the gym at 5 p.m. right after work. You're going to increase your likelihood to do it by double if we go off the study's findings, of course. Now, another mistake is getting an emotional feeling about exercising. People a lot of times attach so many feelings to exercising. Oh, I'm so tired. Or, oh, I just don't feel my best today. Or, I worked way too hard today and I have to go work out now. If I told you to have the exact same feelings about brushing your teeth or taking a shower, that would be the most ridiculous thing you could ever do. You don't have feelings when you do these things. You just do them. If you didn't do it, you know the repercussions of what happens. Your health would deteriorate. And let's be honest, if you stop showering and brushing your teeth, you're going to lose a lot of friends. You have to take the feelings out of exercising. You said you're going to do it, so just do it. And when it's over, it's over. And I bet money that you would feel so much better and so happy and so accomplished when it's all said and done. Another common mistake I see is people who start too strong and they get on a really good roll and a hot streak of working out, and then for some reason, maybe they miss 1 week or even one day. And then they get down on themselves and attach feelings to that and start self-sabotaging themselves with poor self-talk. I knew I couldn't do it, or I suck. I'll never be able to get this down. I always fail. You have to not only watch what goes in your mouth for health, but also the words that come out of your mouth for health. These words that you say and think, they can have a large, if not a larger impact on your success to your health and fitness goals as the actual physical activity. You do not have to be perfect to achieve your goals. You just have to be stubborn and never quit. Be consistent and jump back on that horse and start a new streak tomorrow. This happens to me all the time, especially when we are going to tons of events or we're doing work or holidays or wedding season or any of that stuff. Or I also see this when I start to hit plateaus and I stop seeing results and changes. I understand it's fun to mark off the calendar and see 10 days in a row or 30 days in a row, but that streak will eventually end, and it should eventually end. That's when you say, oh my gosh, that was a great streak. Today was an unplanned rest day. I just didn't get it in. Oh well. Tomorrow, I'm going to start a new streak and I'm going to beat what I just did. So now that we've talked about the mistakes, let's really get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. What are habits and how are they formed? How are we going to make exercise a habit if we don't know what a habit is or how they're formed? A habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. I read an amazing book by Charles Duhigg called The Power of Habit. I recommend this book so much. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This book talks about how to form habits and get rid of bad habits and can be applied to many parts of your life and definitely to your physical activity and fitness goals. Now, would you believe me that if I told you you brush your teeth every single day because some guy 100 years ago needed to sell some toothpaste? Well, it's true. Claude C. Hopkins, back in the day, was one of the most famous advertising executives, and one of his friends created this brand of toothpaste called Pepsodent. But here's the issue. Back in those days, no one brushed their teeth. How could he convince people to all of a sudden decide to make brushing of teeth part of their daily routine? I like to think Charles and his friend were very concerned with the public's health and wellness, but I'm pretty sure that it was more financially driven than that. Well, in order to do this, he ingeniously tapped into neuroscience. In the end, he was able to get half the American population to purchase and use his product on a daily basis. He did this by accessing the amazing power of habits. Now, we all have habits, things that we do automatically or subconsciously. Tons of things count as habits, like walking, driving, tapping your fingers or shaking your legs when you're bored, scab picking, checking social media, biting your nails when you're nervous, snacking, drinking coffee in the morning, repeating the same path to get to a certain destination, complaining, smiling, flicking your hair, showers. Lots of things technically count as habits, and they can be either good or bad. If you drive the same way to work every single day, that path is probably burned into your brain. It has probably been solidified so much that you could drive it and not even think about it. It's kind of scary to reflect on, right? But have you ever driven a path you take so many times and realized that once you are at your destination, you don't even really remember driving there because you were daydreaming or thinking of someone else or whatever? Isn't that crazy? Do you remember how you felt the first time you ever drove a car? You were probably scared out of your mind. You're tensed up like crazy. Your grip is tight as a vice. Every tiny little turn of the steering wheel was thought out and planned. How can you go from a feeling like that to being automated and forgetting you drove at all? The answer is habit. New neural pathways are built when you repeat a certain behavior. And the more that a brain circuit fires that way, the easier it is for our brain to perform that behavior without conscious thought. When you're learning new activities like driving for the first time or riding your bike for the first time, the brain activity happens in the prefrontal cortex. This is the part associated with complex thought. But eventually, once you do that behavior enough, it becomes a habit. And now a different part of the brain is responsible for this action, and it becomes essentially automatic. The area of the brain involved in automatic habitual behavior is called the striatum. And what's super cool about the striatum is that it releases chemicals that inhibit the complex thinking part of your brain for that specific task. So your brain is becoming more efficient and automated, and it's freeing up your brain to think about other things while you're doing that task, like belting out the entire song lyrics of Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot while driving to work. Thank you, striatum. So back to Claude C. Hopkins and his job to sell some toothpaste. Well, he knew that in order to make this happen, these people need to brush their teeth habitually. There's going to be 3 parts to his job. A habit has, number 1, a cue. Number 2, a behavior or an action. And then 3, a reward. So a habit has 3 parts. 1, a cue, 2, a behavior, and 3, a reward. A cue is something that triggers a behavior. So we've all heard of Pavlov's dog, right? If you rang a bell, the dog started salivating because he knew that the food was coming. So the cue, in this case, would be the bell. And the behavior would be that the slobber would fall like a waterfall. Now, another cue would be your alarm clock in the morning, right? And the action would be either getting up, or if you're me, hitting the snooze button. And of course, the reward for Pavlov's situation would be that the food that the dog received. And the alarm clock example, it would be the 3 minutes of extra sleep before my alarm goes off again and again and again. So here's what Claude did. He started to educate people that the slimy film that they felt on their teeth in the morning was bacteria that was building up and covering their beautiful teeth. Not only that, but he was referencing about how beautiful famous people's teeth were and convinced everyone that having a more appealing smile would make them all more attractive. So in this case, the cue was the film that everyone had on their teeth. As soon as someone felt that, they knew that their action or their behavior had to be to brush their teeth. And their reward was earning a more beautiful smile and in turn making them more beautiful as another reward. This genius plan got over half the American population to habitually use his product. What? Imagine that. You invent something and you can get half of everyone to use it on a daily basis. That is amazing. Claude knew about the power of habit. And if you get the right cue and the right reward, you can make anyone do just about anything. But what he didn't know was that a strong enough reward could create a craving. And this is what makes habits so strong. It has been discovered that rewards fire off neurons in the brain. These neurons release chemicals that give us pleasure. But what's insane is that once a habit and a reward are tied together strong enough, the neurons fire in the brain without the habit or action being done. And this is what we call a craving. So this is why when you snack so often late at night, that your body tends to crave those sweets late at night. It has tied this late night time to the sweets that you're putting in your body. So even without the sweets being eaten, your brain is firing off some of these neurons for sweets, and your body's crave it because it thinks it's going to get some of that oh so delicious food, even if you planned on sticking to your new goal of not eating after 8 p.m. Your brain doesn't care if you have a new plan. It says, you've ingrained this pathway way too much and way too consistently. I already know what's coming. So give it to me. And now you're fighting your physiology, which is a tough mental battle to win. This is why habits are so hard to break. Claude didn't know this, but his toothpaste and its minty aftertaste started to give people cravings. That minty freshness of their breath was something that they craved and wanted, that the habit was now ingrained even more, making his product a huge success and something that we continue to do to this very day. So how can we use this information to help make exercise a habit for us? How can we create new habits? And what about our bad habits? Does this mean that we're stuck with them forever? Well, our brain is like clay and it can be molded. And that's what's super exciting, is that we're now finding out that you can even add brain cells to what you currently have. It was once believed that you were born with what you had and that's all you got. But we now know that you can go about your day and your brain is a large chemical laboratory and it's constantly changing. It's responding to all the learning that you're doing, the moving that you're doing, the types of hunger that you're experiencing. And you're creating new neural pathways, and each decision and behavior are doing it. And the more you do something, the more it's burned into your brain, taking it from complex thought to automatic. When a behavior is repeated enough times, you then create a habit. And the more you repeat it, the stronger that pathway is engraved in your brain. So I was taught that if you do something for 10,000 hours, you become a master at that thing. However, in this book, The Power of Habit, it states that if you're constantly doing something different in learning that skill, it won't be as effective. Just like a lot of things in life. In this case, frequency is king. If you're trying to exercise, if you're trying to learn meditation, if you're trying to kick a bad habit, there is no substitute for repetition. If you're trying to break a bad habit, such as not going to the gym or snacking late at night, it's going to be tough because you're literally trying to remold your brain and create new pathways and stop your brain from automatically taking these old pathways. That's a crazy thought, right? So be patient and understanding with yourself. It's supposed to be really challenging. Those neural pathways that have been woven into your brain will not go away overnight. But what is super exciting is that you're in control. You can literally change the chemistry makeup and the physical makeup of your brain. And it's as easy as brushing your teeth. Well, maybe not that easy, but all we need to do is find a cue. We need to be able to, every single time that cue happens, immediately do the behavior or action we're looking to make into a habit. And then make sure that the reward is something strong enough that we can turn into a craving in a good way. So what are the expectations of how big or small habits should be? It's really important to realize that we have to start small. We cannot expect to bite off our entire fitness and health goals all at once. Remember, starting small, one tiny little thing that is made into a habit, and then moving on to another tiny task, and that is made into a habit. If you add up that over time, you can make yourself into a completely different person if you wanted to. Let's say our goal is to be fit and healthy enough to climb Mount Everest. We're not going to go out and buy all the gear that day. We're not going to plan out 3 huge 20-mile hikes that week. Instead, maybe we start by choosing to every morning when the alarm clock goes off to immediately put on our sneakers and go outside for a quick 10-minute walk around the block. Easy. I'm not trying to build up the endurance that it takes to climb to the summit. I'm just creating a small habit, the first step to getting me there. Once it becomes a habit and is automatic, now I add in a little bit of a hill climb that takes my walk to 20 minutes. Or I add in something else, like drinking a gallon of water every day. Small habits added up over a period of time, that's what's going to get us to the top of Mount Everest. Now, how long should it take? Yes, if you do it the way that I'm talking about, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen as fast as if you went out and bought everything and went on these huge hikes every single day, but it's far more likely that it's going to happen. I'm talking multiple times more likely if you begin slow. We know this. This is why New Year's resolutions fail in less than 60 days. We're trying to fight our engraved physiology. Just like when it comes to body fat loss goals or performance goals or any other goals that you make for yourself, if you take the time to build a solid foundation, if you create small positive habits and understand that the journey of getting you there is the most important part, you're going to be far more successful, far more proud with yourself when you finally get there. In this day and age where we get everything as soon as we want it, we rarely work on delayed gratification. We always want that magic pill that will get us there as fast as possible. But this is why we are so enamored and impressed and look up to those people who have taken the time to earn it. In their journey of figuring out how to get where they have gotten, in their process of laying the foundation and taking their time to create good habits, not only have they become the people that you see now, but they have learned something along that journey that no one else can learn or be taught unless you go through it yourself. Finally, let's begin by giving us some actions that can actually help us to start to get going with this entire process. First, I highly recommend spending a week just figuring out what habits you currently have. Some are going to be super obvious. Others may be a little more hidden. Try to have an awareness of the habits that you have that are helping you get towards your goal, and then those negative habits that are taking you further away from your goal. Be aware of what the habit is, what the cue is that usually triggers it, and then finally, what is the reward that keeps you coming back? Has it been ingrained so hard into your brain that it's been transformed into a craving? Try to be as non-biased and try not to get down on yourself when you dial in all these negative habits. We all have them, and remember, they do not have to be permanent. So in the Power of Habit book, they discuss that the best strategy here is not to try and get rid of all your bad habits and then start new good habits. Instead, your strategy is to try and change and replace your bad habits with good ones. And I've seen this work firsthand with myself and my clients. This should be how you attack it, killing two birds with one stone. I recommend taking the time to write out what your habit is, express if you feel that it is helping or hurting your process of getting you to your eventual long-term goal, notate if you feel it's good or bad, write out what the cue is and what the reward is. Now, take your bad habits and look at the cue. Now, the strategy for this is that every time this cue happens, you want to perform a behavior or action that gets you closer to your goal, which in turn will probably create a new reward, right? And the challenging part here is that you have to be consistent with your repetition. It has to be every time. You're remolding your brain, and the more you tell your brain to go this different pathway, the more it's being reinforced and solidified. And the other pathway is being covered up and slowly disappearing. Here's an example. You write down a bad habit of hitting your snooze button in the morning and sleeping in an extra 15 minutes. You're always just on time for work, but you feel rushed every single morning. Here's what you do instead. You put your alarm clock in the other room, and right next to it, you put your sneakers. Instead of hitting that alarm clock, you have to get up and you have to walk over to shut it off. And right there in front of you are your sneakers, socks, clothes. You put them on without thinking, and then you zombie walk your tired butt outside for a quick 10-minute walk around the block. Maybe you stack it with a quick podcast or a morning devotion, or while walking, you think of 3 things that you're grateful for, and what is your 1 or 2 biggest tasks of the day that you're going to tackle. Boom! You have now started to shift a not so good habit, which hitting your snooze button doesn't seem too big. It's actually kind of small, but you've now shifted the scale to performing 2 or 3 or more things that have easily become a huge part of getting you closer to your goal. Here's another example. Let's take late night snacking. Anytime you have a craving at night, instead of reaching for the chocolate, you realize your cue is being bored and the craving starts. Instead, you drink a glass of water and you perform, let's say, 3 ab exercises or 5 minutes of mobility work at night. Boom. Now, instead of ingesting the chocolate, which gives you that huge sense of satisfaction then and there, but maybe a sense of regret later, you figured out that you weren't actually hungry because the water filled you up and you got more water into your daily routine. And now you've created a routine that will help you get closer to your goal with strengthening your core or working on your mobility, which in turn gives you less pain in your joints and making your daily movement feel better. Replace your bad habits with good ones anytime your bad habit cue happens. That's the secret sauce right there. So now I'm going to give you a list of 10 things that you can do, action items to make exercise a habit. So if you want to get out a piece of pencil or a piece of paper and a pencil, now's the time. Number 1, know your why. A superficial goal is great. An event you're training for is great, but what is your true why? If you were to peel back the layers of your goal down to the real root of the reason why you want it, it'll probably evolve into something along the lines of having a better quality of life with the ones you love, or being independent enough to where you don't have to rely on others to do things that you really want to do. You got to find the deeper why behind your goal and let that fuel your process. Anytime you lose motivation, which is going to happen, anytime your old habits and cravings are taking over, let that why be what guides you. Number 2, schedule it. Do not try to prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. When are you going to do it? What do you need to do? How are you going to do it? And where are you going to do it? Don't try to prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. Number 3, find a workout buddy or support group. And I can't stress this enough. An accountability or support system is one of the largest things that are going to help you towards your fitness goals. This could be your spouse. This could be your best friend, a coworker with a similar goal. But even if none of those options work for you, this is where I feel like group fitness really shines. While I do know that there are some downsides to group fitness, and it's hard for a coach or a trainer to get to every single person, especially as the group grows, and it's hard to adapt that program to fit each and every one's individual needs. However, sometimes the community and culture that group fitness offers can really make up and actually allow us to be more successful than we would have been. I have seen it firsthand what a community of people all working on health and fitness can do. It is absolutely incredible. Complete strangers turn into acquaintances that they see every day and go through these tough efforts together. And then that turns into what I call Fit Fam. And it's even kind of like a cult. You feel responsible for your Fit Fam. You feel motivated by your Fit Fam. You hold each other accountable. You celebrate successes and support through the struggles. It's insane what a true Fit Fam can offer and how huge a community and support system can be towards getting you to your goal. Join a group fitness, just like Eat the Frog Fitness. I can promise you the extra money that you spend a month will be worth its weight alone in the Fit Fam and community that you build. Number 4, tell someone about your physical activity plan. The more people that you tell, the more it becomes a part of your life, the more that you speak it into existence, and the less likely you'll be to talk yourself out of it when the time comes to execute. Maybe even start a separate fitness social media page. Some people don't post on their social media because they think that they're annoying their friends or spamming people with their constant fitness posts. Now, I personally think that this is a terrible way to think. I used to think this way. I used to have that profile picture back from middle school through all the way through college. I was like, I don't want to bother people with all my posts. But this is more a reflection on the people who are being annoyed. If someone's annoyed with your post, that's more of a reflection on them. You could be motivating other people to start their fitness journey. And you know what that does? When they get their fitness journey down, that opens up the doors for someone else to be motivated by them. And the ripple effect from there is unimaginable. However, if you're not there yet, I totally understand. All you have to do is create a new fitness page. Just add a few people, 5 to 10 people, who cares? If you have a handful of followers you're posting, that could be that little push that you need, that is putting it out there, speaking it into existence. I mean, add me. I'll like all of your stuff. I'll comment on all your posts, and I'll help you keep yourself accountable because you're actually putting it out there to others. Number 5, start slow. I don't know how many times I can say it. Start slow, start easy. Take the time to form small habits. Once it becomes a habit, form another small habit. Tons of tiny steps throughout time create one hell of a destination. And remember, a journey of lessons and learning along the way, that's more valuable. Number 6, make it easy. Set up your exercise routine to where it almost happens automatically. Your clothes, your shoes, your water bottles, all ready where you need them. And then have a backup plan if you can't make it to the gym or you can't make it to where you said you were going to make it. And what you will actually do if those poor habits start to take over. Make it easy and have a plan. Number 7, develop a ritual. And this sort of falls in line with creating the cues that bring positive behaviors and actions, eliciting positive rewards that turn into cravings. So here's my example. Every day in college, during the last class of the day, I would take the last 5 minutes of class and I would drink my pre-workout drink. It had caffeine, it had creatine, it had beta alanine, which gives you that little tingle in the body. That was the cue. Now, if I didn't feel like working out, well, now if I don't go work out, I've wasted all those supplements and I'll be tingly and have all this energy for nothing. So it was literally automatic that I would walk from class straight to the gym. It was literally unavoidable for me. And the reward was how great I felt off those endorphins immediately after my lift. I got to see my gym friends. I felt good about myself, that I worked on my health, even when I didn't feel like it. What sort of routine can you create that will turn into a ritual? We have the power to create these rituals for the better or for the worse. And if you don't design them to get you closer to your goals, then you are reinforcing the pathways that will take you further away. Number 8, track your progress. This is something that I didn't do very well at first. You have to journal your successes, your emotional and physical feelings. You have to celebrate your milestone successes. Now, there's evidence that say if you actually write pen or pencil to paper, it does have more benefits than just typing or texting. But I have found that in order for me to actually do it, I have to have my journal on my phone. And it's better to journal that way than to not journal at all. So number 8, track your progress. Number 9, watch your language. I have to go. I will never get fit. I hate working out. You have got to change that language, man. I have to go. No, you get to go move your body. You're blessed to have 2 legs and 2 arms that you can move and exercise with that'll help get you more healthy. I hate working out. I'll never get fit. No, you're not where you want to be yet, but you're progressing and slowly getting closer. I love the way I feel after working out. Watch your language, number 9. And finally, number 10, pair your exercise with something that you're going to do already. Maybe you have to go to the grocery store every other day. Okay, well, then pick a gym that's close to your grocery store that you can get your workout in and go to the grocery store, and now you're set. You've paired it with something that you already have to do. Or maybe it's during your lunchtime break. You pair it with your break or on the way home. You could even do it with working out with your accountability buddy and going for a small healthy juice after every workout. Or you could build in non-food related rewards. Every week, you're consistent and form good habits, you reward yourself with self-care. Maybe it's a massage, a spa day, a night alone from the kids where your partner spends time with them and you get to go to a movie or take a bubble bath. You could reward yourself with experiences. You have a success or you conquer something big. Maybe you take a trip to the mountains and visit that small town that you've been wanting to go to. Or you go to the beach and hang out even though you have a busy work week ahead. Number 10, pair exercise with something that you're already going to do or build in a non-food related reward when you hit your goal. Now, this is not impossible. This is science. This is brain chemistry and anatomy. You are in control, and you alone hold the power to be able to do anything you put your mind to. You are essentially the sum of all of your habits and all of your choices put together. And this is so exciting, right? Because you are able to decide which habits you want to keep, which habits you want to trade for better habits, and the cues and choices you use to get you there. Man, you got this, team. And as always, please reach out to me if I can help in any way. All right, Dream Team, that's it for today. Please share with me any knowledge, thoughts, or questions you may have on today's topic. I'll make sure to answer and discuss on the next episode. You can ask your questions in the comments section or message me on any of the social media platforms. Also, I would be so thankful if you shared this episode with any of your friends or family that may be able to benefit from today's podcast. I would love it if you could do me a solid and screenshot this podcast and share it on your social media platforms and just write one takeaway, one aha moment that you got from this episode. This will help me know what's really valuable to you, and so I can keep the good information coming. And it also lets your network know if this podcast is worth a listen to them. Thank you so much for listening and learning here with us on the Livin the Dream podcast. We are so grateful for you being a part of this lifelong learning journey. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, please let us know in the comments or by messaging me on Instagram at CoachDamien_SD. Be kind to someone today, smile at someone today, and leave every person you come into contact with better than before. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.